Coming up on the show, we're going to talk about Stalker 2, and it is being delayed. We're going to give you full details rundown right now. Everybody, welcome to Xbox A. I'm Matt. Court, you hoser.
Yeah. Xbox A.
X going to give it to you?
Yeah.
There. Yeah. Right there, buddy. Go to the merch shop. You can find out right now. Let's go. Let's talk about Stalker 2. Big game, pretty game. Oh my goodness, pretty game, Court.
Looks beautiful.
It
is not a game I knew anything about until I saw the trailers. And I was, wow. It looks like Metro Exodus. Let's be real here.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it does. But it looks beautiful.
Let's talk about it, though. It's being delayed, which is unfortunate news. The game is undergoing additional thorough testing and polishing. This is coming over from Windows Central. Let's talk about it. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, is delayed to December 8th, 2022. GSC Game World confirmed via Twitter on Wednesday. Stalker 2 was previously slated to arrive on April 28th, 2022, meaning it's being delayed for around 7 months. Quote, "These additional 7 months of development are needed to fulfill our vision and achieve the desired state of the game." The update explains the developers added that the game is undergoing thorough testing and polishing, and that more of the game will be shown later in the year, so players can expect additional updates before the launch. The developers previously planned to implement NFTs, God help us, or non-fungible tokens around the game, something that was quickly pulled after player backlash. Good for players. Stalker 2 is a timed Xbox console exclusive. It's coming to the Series X, S, and PC at launch. It's also launching day one into Game Pass on both console and PC. Court, Stalker 2 delayed 7 months till you get the game. What do you think is going to happen between those 7 months? And do you care that it's delayed?
I am a huge and firm believer on delay your game, do not release trash. If they don't think their game is ready, then delay it. And one thing I am noticing about the new Xbox, since their acquisition of Bethesda and they became Microsoft Studios, I am seeing a different Xbox. I'm seeing them delay games. This is not the first game they've delayed. They delayed Halo, and we all know that definitely needed it because it just doesn't look anything like the original trailer, and the game became good. So it's obvious it wasn't there. They knocked out 40% of it, but when delaying a game, we get a better outcome. As gamers, I know we get anticipation for a game, and we get very disappointed when games delay. But what we have seen over the last couple of years, especially during the pandemic and even before that, when a game didn't get delayed and it gets released based on Cyberpunk, even just recently, Battlefield 2042, both games needed it to be delayed. Battlefield's still out there, and it's still like, yikes.
Battlefield
and then
was delayed a month.
Yeah, and you even have Call of Duty Vanguard right now that the multiplayer is just, from what everybody's saying, the campaign is phenomenal, but the multiplayer's got a lot of jank. And I think that there's a lot of pressure on these studios, and there's a lot of pressure to release these games because they have shareholders. And I get it. But Microsoft's in a different sort of situation where they have these giant Scrooge McDuck buildings everywhere where you can swim around in money, where they don't have to worry about putting the game out based on sales right away. And this is not a Microsoft Studios game. This is a timed exclusive.
Correct.
So this is a little bit different, but that is Microsoft putting some money behind this game and saying, you know what? Obviously someone played this and they decided it wasn't ready.
This is the thing that I like about what Microsoft is doing, and what I think is attractive for studios that want to partner with Microsoft for a timed exclusive release of the game, or come over to under the umbrella of Xbox and Microsoft officially. I wonder if it does take some of the heat off and the pressure off for developers when Microsoft, Phil Spencer's approach is very much make the game you want. Here's your backing, here's your support. There's timelines and everything. Like, they need to try to hit these marks and these windows and these milestones like any business. However, I think there is maybe a little bit of the pressure off when they can sit there and say Stalker 2, a timed exclusive, Halo Infinite, whatever the game is, we can give you a little bit more time. Oh, do you need 3 more months? Okay. We look at it, we assess. It's not going to break the bank. We can afford this. And I think that's a comfort probably for developers versus being on their own or working under another company like an EA or a 2K. where we got to hit it because there's a lot of money and there's stakeholders involved. So
It's also when we played games on Xbox 360 and such, the games were, and according to developers, they weren't as complex to make.
Mhm.
These games are a lot more behind them. You can't just pump games out. I think we've seen that, especially on the Ubisoft side with the Assassin's Creeds. We don't have a new mainline Assassin's Creed this
Yeah, it's a
year,
good point.
and Valhalla came out 2 years ago, and they're still working on. And that Valhalla technically was a cross-gen game, right? They still haven't made us a next-gen Assassin's Creed. They haven't really. They've talked about the new Assassin's Creed, but we haven't seen anything. So it's obviously not coming this year.
Mhm.
So it's looking like studios, that old window of, it originally was like every year you could get a new Assassin's Creed, new Call of Duty. Then it became Call of Duty changed. They had two different studios. So
Yeah.
right, one, it was taking them 2 years. It is looking like the new pattern will be 3 years for those games that are huge studios that are just working on that one game. It's looking like they need 3 years to make these games, because when they're pumping them out in 2 years, the game's not looking too good.
No, and you're
Like,
seeing the
Battlefield
delay
looks
anyway.
bad.
Yeah. And I think the development cycle, I think it keeps stretching, and I think we are seeing that right now. We're almost on the Xbox side. They're kind of catching up to those timelines, those like delays of like we've had to push games out like Halo. This was supposed to come out when the box released. That got delayed, and then you see Forza, you see Halo come out, and they can kind of now get into their cycle of the games that were announced 3 years ago are finally coming to fruition. Like Stalker 2 is going to come out, State of Decay 2 we're going to talk about tomorrow, but there's games that are coming down the horizon. They're coming up, and it's exciting. I think Cyberpunk, just me speculating, I think Cyberpunk's giant, colossal kaboom of a launch probably impacted a lot of developers and shareholders. And I wonder if they looked at that and the financial side of it and went, so this is a PR nightmare. The game is trash. People are dunking on it. We've lost so much money. And now we've had to reinvest and rebuild this entire game. And it's probably costing us near double. And we're never going to get the return back on this thing, but we've invested too much. I wonder if other developers and studios and shareholders specifically look at something like Cyberpunk and go, maybe we should be a little bit more careful or lenient that if we need to delay a game a little bit, it's not going to destroy us.
Well, the reason, the caveat to that is you got a company like EA that seems to just not care.
There is that when they don't give an F.
They have historically just released janky games. There's many of their sports games where they come out.
God,
Like,
yeah.
I co-host my Three Dads podcast. Waba talks about, like, he shows me all the things that are going on in NHL 22 and Madden. Just unbelievable problems with the new Madden. It seems EA is just like, whatever. We're gonna get their money anyways. And I am, like I said, I'm liking what other studios are doing. The whole Cyberpunk thing, I think, is a lesson for them. But the industry doesn't look. They still were releasing games where I'm just like, what the F? Like, we could probably safely say that Horizon Zero Dawn, Sony originally wanted that to be a console launch game. It didn't happen. They delayed it, which is great. I'm just hoping that this becomes the norm of studios. You know what, studios? Don't give us a release date. Don't.
Yeah.
Just give us the year. You know what? Give us a date. I know a lot of people want it. They want that date at the end of that sizzle reel. I'm good with just a year. You know what?
Or even just the season. If you're very confident that it is going to be a fall 2022, just say fall. Because if you're early, which they would never be early, but it allows you to sit there and go, it came out in November 29th, 2022. Yeah. You know, and you're like, fine. I'd rather have that. I'm with you too. I don't need the hard release date, but I know that on the financial side, they need that. It helps
the shareholders. Yeah.
They need to be able to sit there and go every quarter, when is this game coming out? But at the same time, if you said it's coming out in Q4, that still gives them some wiggle room. I don't know.
I'm almost wishing more companies would do what Nintendo does. And Nintendo, you know, they pretty much 6 months before a game comes out, they're like, okay, now our game's coming out. But the game's already polished and it's ready to go. Yeah, Bethesda's another one, what they did with Fallout. Mind you, we won't talk about Fallout 76, but still. Anyways, hey, let us know in the comments. Are you okay with game delays? Do you wish that they wouldn't give you a release date? What's the game that you think should have been delayed that wasn't?
Let us know. See ya.